What is going on, guys? Joey Franza here at FLEXX Training Systems. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about mentals. The mentals. What am I talking about? Well, as an athlete, you are going to experience a lot of things, and if you do not know how to deal with it mentally, it is probably going to make or break you. Some of the greatest athletes of all time have a mental coach. They have someone who helps them with their mentals, right? Being a professional athlete, there's a lot of things that come with that. It's not just sports, right? You're getting absurd amounts of money. You don't really know how to carry yourself. People around you start acting different. It's really, it's crazy. But for powerlifting, there's a lot of different types of, people that I'm going to deal with, right? As a coach, I deal with all kinds of different people. Some people are very strong mentally. Some people are very weak mentally. Some people are in the middle. Some people are confused. A lot of people, lifters are very young, right? They don't have a lot of, they just kind of haven't gone through the adversity that they need to sort of help them learn lessons from those challenges and then become stronger people. There's a lot of things that are confusing to them, or maybe they feel certain ways. And it's hard to navigate, right? Also, in relation to mentals, something that I also have to consider is when I'm coaching someone, their personality type and how I articulate or give them feedback. Let me give you guys one example. For some lifters, if I give them constructive criticism, right? I'll say, hey man, your squats are high. We need to fix that. This is how you can fix it. They cannot really take constructive criticism, and they take it as it hurts them, right? It offends them. I don't work with these kinds of people anymore. But in the past, I have had these experiences where I'll literally tell someone, and I know, let's say you go to the gym, you hit a squat and you feel good about it and you send it to your coach and you're all proud, right? And then, I see it and then I'm like, oh no, man. And I just break it down, right? I point out what's wrong with it. I break down, why it wouldn't pass in competition and what we need to do to fix it. But it's kind of like a buzzkill, right? It's I was really happy with that squat, but you're right, I got to get better. Or they just take it as they take offense to it. They get upset. And they go, you're talking shit, you're putting me down, stuff like that. That's not the intent. That, you know what I mean? Being able to take constructive criticism is an incredibly, vital part of being coachable, right? And anything that you do in life, if you can't take constructive criticism, you can't do anything. You might have a boss, you might have, you're going to be in a relationship. And they might say, hey, this really bothers me. I want, can we work on this, whatever. And if you can't do that, you're not going to be in no type of relationship. You know what I mean? It can go both ways, But depending on the mentals of the person I'm dealing with, I might have to change the way that I deliver a message. For example, if I have someone who's very sensitive, I have someone who's super emotional, and they're extremely delicate, right? I can't be super hard on them, right? I can't just be like, hey, man, we need to do X, Y, Z. Just cold, give instruction, we got to fix it, that's it, right? I have to take a different approach. You know what I mean? I have to be more just the way that you word it. So, for example, your squats are high, you need to squat deeper, this is how you fix it. Or, I'm not sure if that would pass in competition, let's try X, Y, Z and make sure we can get that hip crease below the top of the knee. You know what I mean? Saying your squats are high might really hurt someone's feelings, right? It can really bother them. It's just, it triggers someone or puts them in the wrong mindset right out the gate, right? So the way that you communicate to people, the way that you talk to people, it's all, at the end of the day, it's all about getting the lift to pass in competition, right? That's what we have to do. We have to get the lifts to pass in competition. It's not, we're not bodybuilding where you can squat high because you're just trying to target your quads or get your glutes involved or whatever. You know what I mean? You could do a freaking machine. You don't even need a squat. We have competition standards, so in powerlifting, it's a little bit different. Another way of coaching or relaying directions to someone that could be taken, like there's a varying way to do this, right? Depending on the person you're dealing with, is some coaches like tough love, right? They like to say, how do I put this? They just like come at you hard, right? They really come at you hard, like, quit being a little bitch, like quit being, like you're being a not nice word, like you're being weak, and they're just like, look at this other guy, he's doing it better than you, whatever, and that's kind of like how they do it. I don't coach anybody that way, because I think there's just a lot of, when you coach somebody like that, you don't, like, unless you know the person really, really well, you could end up hurting them, like without even knowing it, and they may not even know it, right? This is why I tell lifters, like, don't talk bad about yourself, because it's not true. Like, when people say, like, oh, my lifts are fucking garbage today, like I'm trash today or whatever, if you keep saying that, you get in this negative mindset of just like this downward spiral of like, you just hate yourself and you just have no confidence in anything, and it's just not good. And you become your thoughts. Like, you're literally going to portray just low confidence. Your execution is bad. You're just not doing things the way that you're supposed to do them. And that's obviously like not something that we want. And I really do believe, like, I know some lifters, like, they get in this, my lifters, I'm really thankful. I have a really good group of lifters, and they're all pretty solid, from a mental perspective. A lot of them I've had to build up over the years, but a lot of them just come to me and they're like, obviously if I'm working with high level lifters, especially IPF lifters, like they already have a level of like, sort of that competitive mindset, right? So they're going to know what it is and they're going to be all right. But some lifters, they get in this negative mindset. They are their own worst enemy, when in reality, there's not really anything that's wrong with them, just their mindset, right? And if you listen to like the Michael Jordans, Kobe Bryant's, Tom Brady's, like all these amazing, just top tier athletes, they have this really like unbreakable, just mental resolve and the ability to have that determination and work really, really hard. Some of them do the tough love technique, right? And that works for some people. On a team, in a team sport, especially where it's like all dudes, like, yeah, there's a lot of that going on. But there can also be incredibly talented individuals that do not respond to that. They don't work with that, right? You cannot coach someone who, if you try to beat it into their head, it's just not going to work. You could like, with way less effort, kind of finesse it into them. You know what I mean? It's the way you communicate. It's the way that you can like relay what you want to the other lifter. You know what I mean? How do you get the lifter to do what you need them to do? You know what I mean? In a way that's gonna like best serve them. Identify what kind of person you're dealing with, and then you have to have the skills to be able to get that message across without, putting them down, making them feel bad or whatever, right? If the lifter constantly, when they interact with you, is like a negative interaction, they're probably not going to stay with you, and they're probably not going to even want to do the sport anymore. You know what I mean? So it's just, the mentals are so important. Another aspect of the mentals, besides the coaching, and how do you approach that, is like, what are you dealing with in your life, and how is that affecting your lifting, right? Sometimes you have squats in front of you. You have to squat today, but there's something bothering you outside the gym, and your head is not in the gym. Your head is thinking about dealing with the issue that's bothering you outside the gym, right? So you have a really shitty workout. Maybe you rush it. Maybe you cut some sets. Maybe you're not even paying attention to your RPEs. Or worse, you get frustrated. You start overshooting. You just want to like force things because your head is not in it, right? Sometimes there's not really, I mean, actually, if your mentals are off, then you're going to start to, you're not hitting your food. You're not going to sleep when you're supposed to. You're not drinking your water. You're not even warming up sometimes, right? So everything starts to fall apart. And it all starts with the mind. And I really do believe that, I mean, it kind of goes both ways. Like I have this observation or theory, I don't know what you want to call it, but I believe that people that are genetically in some way, they are drawn to activities, right? So like, if you're 6'10" and you're in high school and everybody's telling you like, oh my God, you should play basketball, you're probably going to try basketball and you're probably going to be better than like 99.9% of everyone that tries it. And you're probably going to shit on them. And that's going to give you confidence. It's going to affect your personality. It's going to affect your development, right? It's going to affect your mentals. You're going to start to get really confident in this thing that you're doing, for better or for worse, right? Same thing in powerlifting. You find out you're strong early on. You're stronger than most people. You start thriving in that. You know, that is definitely something that you're probably going to stick with it. Me, for example, I played football and I played basketball. I like lifting weights. I noticed I was stronger than most people around me when I was doing it. I was in the lineman group. When we would have groups like in football, like of strength, I'll be the lineman. Once I got into college, it was different because the linebackers are strong there too. So, you know what I mean? But, you know, I went towards the things that I enjoyed doing. I saw results from my lifting and I enjoyed that. So I got into lifting. I was going to get into bodybuilding. I found powerlifting. I enjoyed the process of building up muscles to be better at a lift. And then boom, powerlifting was like perfect for me, right? Mentally, I also had what it took to do that. There are some people that are very gifted, you know, physically, but mentally they just don't want to work hard. You know, like, oh, well, this sport was easy for me when I was a junior because I could just beat up on everybody. But now that I'm in the open and I actually have to work hard to like keep pushing, you know, I don't want to do this anymore. You know what I mean? And you'd be surprised how often that happens. You know, a lot of lifters, especially if they're like top of the food chain as a junior, they get into the open and they're just kind of fucked. So, you know, I really do believe that. And to kind of close out, like I ask my lifters, depending on who it is, I'll ask them once a month, once every 2 months, just kind of check in on people. How are you doing? How are the mentals? What's going on outside the gym? You know, watching good animes lately, reading any good books, like what's going on? You know what I mean? Just kind of see how they're doing generally overall. Sometimes people really need that. And it's important. And I'm genuinely like, I want to make sure that they're okay. If I can put them in an environment where they feel like I care, which I do, like I get really sad. It's rare because I know what I'm fucking doing. But if you know, if a lifter's not getting results, because of something maybe outside of their control, maybe it is, maybe it isn't, I don't know. I take it kind of personally and I really want to fix it. I want to find out like, okay, like let's take a look at what's going on and let's, you know, and more often than not, especially with younger kids, they have a lot going on. They're dealing with school, relationship, all these different things, and it all affects the platform. It all affects gym. It all affects. So like all of those things, you know, it's not just like X's and O's and like eating and sleeping. It's like humans are not machines. Some of them are. Most of them are not. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just something that has to be considered. I mean, there's a lot of times where like I've had some lifters like move or change locations and just be in a better like environment for lifting. And the only thing that changed was like now they have a community around them versus like them lifting alone in a gym. Or maybe they got rid of some relationships that were really dragging them down or affecting them, and like they're thriving again. You know what I mean? So it is so important. Your mentals are literally everything. Even like being at the top, right? Obviously, I coach a lot of lifters that are top of their division. Everybody's coming for you. Everybody's coming for us. And it's like a lot of pressure. A lot of pressure. Now, I have not had an instance where, someone has like worked their way up through the ranks. They've like gotten first place and then like got knocked down from that. But I can tell you that if that does happen, it's kind of I know this is going to sound very weird, right? And you can listen to like interviews with like champions, world champions and stuff like that. And especially those that don't like the limelight, it's like a relief because now, they're not the number one person that everybody's focused on, everybody's talking about, they don't like all the attention and they can just kind of like go back to grinding and like building themselves back up. You know what I mean? And that's another, athletes get, mental counselors for that. Like they see counseling for that. They get help with that. Or maybe they win or you win, right? You win a championship, you win nationals, you win worlds, but then you're really depressed after. Or you have a meet that you put so much energy into, you invest like all this energy into like doing the best that you possibly can. You do the meet and then you feel like absolute shit after. You know what I mean? Like, why is that? Doesn't that seem wrong? So they get, the people get help. Sometimes it's as simple as having a conversation with your coach and letting them know like, yo, like we just hit PRs across the board. I just like blew, I passed all my expectations, but I'm really sad now. Right? Maybe it's because they put their expectations like so high, like they thought that like this meet is going to like change their life and like completely change their world. But it was just a powerlifting meet and they had some PRs and they celebrated. They ate some food after. And then that was it. And maybe they thought it was going to be a little more than that. So, these are all different like aspects of the mind that I just kind of wanted to put out there. I know people don't really, talk about these things too much. But to me, it's like really, really important, especially when, I feel like I have the getting stronger part down, like extremely well. There's other things that I look for to find areas to improve. And the mentals, is definitely a big thing. Ignore that. I want to kind of change up how I know, how normally at the end of the videos. First off, if you made it this far, you're a real one. Let's do something different today, right? Instead of leaving a comment, you can leave a comment on my video, but let's secretly, let's all go to Jesus' last YouTube video and comment something like FLEXX sent me or Joey FLEXX sent me or something like that. Just to give him some love. Maybe you guys find his channel. Maybe you guys like his content. You want to see a different perspective. I think that'd be a good thing. Also, Mikey. We could do it for Mikey too. You know what I mean? Mikey D, because I know he has a YouTube channel too. I will try to link those in the comments below. So let's do that. Secretly, I don't think they're going to see it. And I think it'll be pretty cool just to see you guys in their comment section just like gassing them up. So let's do that. I want that. I thought, why not help the boys? Thank you for coming to my talk. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.